Well, as Solomon looks back on his life, there is another problem that he remembers having in terms of his relationship with money, and that he just wants to flag up for us and warn us about. And the problem is that if you are not content without money, you will never be content with money. And the reason that's so dangerous and problematic is that so often what we are looking for money to provide for us is precisely contentment. But Solomon's point is it can't do that, it won't do that. And if you spend your whole life pursuing contentment and meaning and purpose in money, then actually you'll realize that a lifetime spent pursuing wealth is meaningless and folly. Now, the danger here is that money is so seductive. You know, money stands in front of us and it's like, look at what I can buy you, look at what I can give you. If you have enough of me, then you can buy the things that will satisfy you. You will earn other people's respect and affection. You'll have security. You'll future-proof yourself. You'll be able to provide for yourself and for your family, even after you've gone. It promises so much, doesn't it? And we need to wean ourselves off that narrative and see it for what it is. The problem is that story is so pervasive and it's so compelling that actually it takes an almost prophetic work by the Spirit to enable us to see through this story, to see it for what it is, to see it for the lie, the mirage that it is. It cannot deliver against what it promises. In fact, it does the exact opposite. You know, it promises contentment, but actually it brings discontent. It brings greed, and it brings a crippling level of anxiety. You know, it's not just that it doesn't deliver on its promise for security. What it actually does is it delivers the opposite and cultivates insecurity. So that actually people get very, very anxious and fearful around their money. You know, we need to protect it. We need to look after it. I think this is one of the things that Solomon's doing, is he's saying, look, you make money a god, and then you need to protect it. You need to look after it. And he's like, what a rubbish god is that? You want a God who looks after you and protects you, right? So how does Solomon put all this in Ecclesiastes 5? Well, as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep. You know, Solomon's this old man looking back over his life, and he's just thinking, yeah, it's so many sleepless nights, worrying about my investments and my business ventures, worrying about my money, if I have enough to pay the bills, to maintain the lifestyle, the reputation, the image that he'd become accustomed to. See, that's what money gives in return for our love and for our idolizing of it. It's absolutely catastrophic for the Christian faith. Paul, a pastor, tells Timothy, a young guy he's training up in church leadership, he says, look, some people, he says, are eager for money and have wandered off from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. But Paul goes on to offer an alternative. He said, there is another way. Flee from all this, he said. Flee from it all and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. Pursue God. Pursue His vision for our lives. Find our meaning, our purpose, our significance, our contentment in Him. All right? Train ourselves, nurture our soul so that we find our delight in God. And then our relationship with money, however much of it or however little of it we have, our relationship with money is transformed, because we aren't asking money now to do something that actually it cannot do. We're not asking it to bring us meaning or contentment. We get that from our relationship with God, so that we can, that frees us, it liberates us, so that we can see money for what it is, we can see what it can do and what God designed it to, and we can use it for that purpose. Money becomes, it takes on a much more kind of humble place in our lives than we often think it should have. You know, we're able to work hard, we're able to create money, to earn money, but because we have money in its right place, because it's in perspective, because our relationship to money is being framed by our relationship with God and not the other way around, we're not now looking to money to do something that it actually cannot do. right? We find our purpose, our meaning in our relationship with God. And so money becomes a much less emotive force in our life. It loses its power to control us. And it's no longer a source of fear or anxiety. I think that's an incredibly liberating thing, right? For many, many people. We can so easily feel enslaved to money. We feel like it controls us rather than we're controlling it, right? In fact, it often feels like our relationship with money is out of control. It's a source of so much fear and worry and anxiety for us. Solomon is bringing his God-given wisdom now to bear on this situation, this relationship in which he has made as many mistakes as anyone, probably more. And he's inviting us to go with him on a journey of repentance that will actually allow him and allow us to build now a much healthier relationship with money. And one of the benefits is that we'll be able to sleep at night rather than lie awake worrying. Sounds really trivial in a way, but if you're someone who has lain awake worrying about money, been unable to sleep because of financial concerns and pressures, then the idea of being so at peace with money that we're able to lie down and sleep suddenly becomes very, very attractive. Psalm 4, in peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Where does the psalmist get his security from? From the Lord. And that's why he is able to lie down and sleep, because the Lord is a God who provides and protects. See, when our trust is in God, our meaning, our purpose is rooted in him. And he gives sleep. He doesn't rob sleep. He gives it. He gives it to us. He isn't a God like money. He's a very, very different God. Now, you can't separate all this out from what we were thinking about last time in terms of fellowship with other Christians and the life of the church. Yeah? I mean, have a look at the book of Acts, particularly Acts chapter 2, Acts chapter 4, to see how the life of the church feeds into this question of our relationship with money and our our ability to be at peace in terms of our relationship with money. But I want to finish this video with a line from the Apostle Paul. It really cements this and fixes it in our minds. And it may well be a line that he came up with after meditating on Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Paul just says simply this: godliness with contentment is great gain.